Rob Badorn here with Lead Fusion and Ernie Fox with the Probate Fox. He's the man, the myth, the legend of 23, 24 years now of probates and inheritance. So today, Ernie, we're going to talk about inheritance leads. A lot of people don't understand maybe what inheritance leads are. Different people out there sell different types of leads. And at least get some clarification what's out there and what do we have available too, right? We are a supplier of inheritance leads and kind of go from there. So give us a rundown on inheritance just in general, what that means, because and what the difference maybe is between probate and inheritance. Some people don't quite understand what that division is too, myself included.
No, that's such a very important topic to cover because obviously, I think probate is a hot topic today, and it's still a very open space for a lot of opportunity. But probate, as we know it, somebody has passed away and somebody has actually gone forward and filed a probate case at the court. In the inheritance lead side, it's a little bit different. We've identified that somebody has passed away, but there isn't necessarily a probate that has been, began at the. Nobody's actually taken that step to begin that process at the court. So
it may never happen too, right? I mean, it doesn't have to go through probate, right?
Right. So I think to that we would probably want to identify the different routes that an inheritance lead can go through, right? So you sort of have at the top, you've got an inheritance lead, and one arm of that could be somebody passed away and maybe they owned their property as an individual, right, as in their own individual name. That is absolutely a probate candidate. So that's what we would call a pre-probate. So they have not filed probate. They're still, the family is still in the early stage of, needing to decide what they're going to do. But one thing that they will have to do is go out and file a probate. So that's probate.
So what you're saying is if it's owned in the person's name, does it always have to go into probate, or could they have some sort of will and trust set up on the side that property would go through? Or maybe I'm misconstruing it here.
Yeah. So with that first category, it would be a probate candidate. I mean, there are instances when a probate can be fast tracked, or they can even avoid probate in special circumstances, but if it is owned under their name, they would have to kind of follow that process there. The second one would be a trust category. So now let's say that somebody went out and did the right thing. They prepared. They thought of the future, and so they said, "My family is not going to go through probate. I will prepare my estate," and they go out and they have their property transferred into a living trust, so that the entire family does not have to go through probate. They bypass all of those headaches. Fantastic. Thumbs up. They've done the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
However, at the end of the day, they still die, right? They still die, and the family still inherits a piece of real estate. So we have the ability to identify that second category of a prospect. Those that did everything
first
right.
And second category, really the probates and in the trust side too, right? Say
that again.
It really both categories that we have the ability to identify, right? Obviously, the owner, if they own it, no big deal, right? So even if that doesn't go through probate, even though we would consider a pre-probate, it would still be showing up in our inheritance leads as well. Ahead of that whole process starting.
Right. Yes. Because a pre-probate does not have a case number from the court attached to it. No probate has been commenced. So
and you can put stuff on, and sorry to keep on interrupting because I'm so excited about this, but you can put stuff under contract even before it goes into probate, right? I mean, that's you have the ability to do that.
So there are different strategies that we can deploy to make that happen. In a conventional world, a conventional thinker would say, no, that's absolutely impossible. But where there's a will, there's a way. And yes, so you're correct that there is a way to do that.
Okay. Cool.
So pre-probate 1, 2 trust properties. Number 3, I would say spousal properties. So maybe the person passed away, but the spouse is still alive, and
we pick those up as well.
So in other words, what we're saying is that there are multiple leads within the inheritance lead sector. I mean, that are completely aside from probate. Probate fantastic, but don't forget about inheritance. And maybe I can give you an example of an inheritance deed that I've worked, just to kind of, maybe put some, put a picture to this. So here's one of the inheritance deeds. We've identified individual who passed away. A couple of things that we have to identify: one, that there was a death. Two, we needed to identify whether there was or wasn't any real estate, because if there isn't any real estate, we don't want those. And so that's something that we do, right? We filter these out so that we only deliver, real estate confirmed inherited leads, right? So in this case, we identified that the person passed away. One, two, we identified that there was real estate, and then three, we identified who the relatives of the deceased were. Now that's really important. That's another thing that we identify here with the leads.
So why is it important for the relatives? Is that because it's not in probate, or it won't go into probate because of the trusts, and therefore there's really no one to contact at this point outside of someone that is next to kin or relatives?
Yeah, you sort of have to follow this trail, right? This is you're getting to people ahead of the game, right? There isn't a probate filed yet. As a matter of fact, we've just identified that somebody's just passed away. So even if they had it in a trust, the trust administration hasn't yet been done. They are still in that process where they are still sort of figuring it out. So in this case, we identified who died. We identified who the relatives were, that there was real estate, and then who the relatives were. And then the number four, we contacted the relatives, right? And in this case, we identified, right, Rob, that there was a sister and that there was a brother. The sister lived out of state, while the brother lived within the same county of the deceased person. And this deceased person, by the way, happened to be the father, right?
Okay. Same name.
Yeah. So now this individual, we contacted the son and said, hey, would you be interested in selling? Essentially, that's the short of it, right? But he said, absolutely. He said, what did he say? You're a godsend. I can't believe that you're contacting me at the right time. And that's what you want. You want to be that voice where wow, timing couldn't be better.
Especially if it's in a trust, when they've already grieved, they've gone past it, and now they're sitting with an empty house, maybe 2 states away, 3 states away across the country, or in the same state, right? They don't know what to do with it, and it's probably not in the best condition. Like always, we walk into houses that look like they're in the 70s and the 80s. So they don't know what to do with it. They don't know. They don't want to spend money on renovating it. So it's a perfect opportunity, perfect time to go in there and help people out. So completely agree.
Yeah, and that mental state of mind that people are in, it's essentially, money is important, but money's not the most important thing at this point of somebody's life when they've inherited essentially a house for free. What's really most important is, give me something decent in terms of a purchase, and take it off my hands. Go ahead and take it off my hands.
Yeah. And we always encourage, obviously people give more than fair value to those folks, right? Because they're going through a lot. So really the top consensus here is, for inheritance, because we're talking about inheritance now, you want the information for the deceased, right? Whether that's an email or phone number or a current address. Even though they're passed away, someone is usually picking up that phone number. Someone's usually picking up that email, because they're kind of tidying everything up, right? And then you also want the relatives, right? So now you can get a hold of them really before anyone else does, at least with our leads, right? We include relatives that are fully skip traced. So you can give their phone numbers, their emails, their addresses, and you can see if they're close to the property, right? Or are they out of state, that sort of thing. And of course, we can't get relatives for every single lead that we get, but we do a really good percentage, high percentage of getting relatives right now for those people that have passed away. So that's really cool. Anything else that is, and obviously we also verify that there's property behind the lead too, which is something that takes a lot of time and effort on our side, but well worth it, in terms of people not wasting marketing dollars getting 500 leads when really they should only be working 100 leads. And believe me, I've had people just in the past month come to us and say, wow, there's a big difference here. And I think we had someone come in recently as of yesterday to talk about the quality of our data as well.
Yes.
I don't know if you have a few words on that.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that sometimes more is not good, right? We fortunately are able to help a lot of the real estate community that are subscribed to other leads sources who sort of sell this idea and concept of, I'm going to give you this whole bundle of leads, but time is so precious. And so if you're spending your time prospecting the wrong people, you're wasting your time, which essentially means that you're going to be less productive and really not successful. And your marketing dollars are going to be spent on the wrong leads. And so having somebody like us that can identify a lead that is qualified because it has real estate and because you clearly understand what type of lead that is, where it falls. Is it a probate? Have they filed a probate petition? Is it a pre-probate? We'll need to go this route. Is it a trust lead? What really is that lead? And then you can have a specific marketing campaign that you can deploy specifically that talks to the challenges that specific candidate is going through, that person. That's really, really important.
Okay, very cool. Well, I think we gave people a good overview of what inheritance is. The different categories. Things that are going through trust, things that are, maybe not pre-probate, but they can still not go into probate. There's certain situations there. Every state's different as well, too. Kind of got to take that into consideration, because you and I talked about that the probate process is really disjointed, right? When you look at it from a state level, and there's so much fraud that can happen about it as well. And I know we've talked about that over the last couple of days. A friend of ours that had a lot of fraud, not to saying he was in probate, but just it happens, right? And it's happened more and more. And these people, with vacant houses, really have to be careful about title transfers and everything right now. So, anyways, getting back to the inheritance leads, we obviously have them. The nice thing about it is you do have relatives to call. You do have, emails in this property.
Maybe you can share what people get with their inherited leads. What types of contact information they get.
Oh, okay. So you get the decedent, you get the phone numbers, the emails, you get their address, of course, the property address that's owned by them. For the relatives, you get their phone numbers, their emails. If it's there, right, we do our best, and we hit a lot of different sources and a lot of data analytics to make this happen. But you also get the relative's address as well, that we see as their current address as well. So a lot of information to get a hold of these people that are either going through a probate or that it's a trust lead or whatever. It's under the inheritance umbrella. In order to get a hold of these people, you have all the information you need to do it. Yeah. The cool thing is that you can use this data for a lot of different areas. You can text them, you can voicemail them, you can RVM them, you can call them, you can create Facebook custom audiences. So you're dropping, ads on them as they're going through Facebook about selling your house for cash. I mean, all of this different stuff you can do with this information that we give you now. That because the records are all fully skip traced and property verified. So very cool. Did I miss anything? What we give them? I mean, there's more features.
You got it. I mean, it's all the right information
that can be included. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
All right. Ernie, hey, thanks a lot. Have a good evening there. Everyone else, thank you for joining us, in this. Hopefully this was informational in terms of what an inheritance lead can be and isn't, and what a probate lead as well in comparison. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share us, obviously, on Facebook and so forth. And, of course, if you need any information in terms of you can go to leadfusionlist.com for inheritance probates leads. There's the phone number. Our email address as well, but hitting up the website right now, leadfusionlist.com. Got some other announcements coming up next week about that website and more that we're offering to our customer base. So stay tuned on that. Ernie, have a great evening. The Probate Fox. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Have a good one. We'll talk to you. Bye-bye.